Well, I just want to mention this because it just happened, and this is someone that I know as well. But what do you think about the whole Scott Adams, Dilbert thing that's happening right now?
Oh, I just saw that.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a comedian per se, but he is a comic writer and wrote comic books and stuff like that. He's called black people a hate group.
Yeah.
Told whites to get the hell away.
Yeah.
And the one part that really bothered me the most was that he said that the place where he bought a house, he bought it because there were so few black people in the neighborhood.
Yeah. So these people exist. I don't even know why people be like so shocked when these type of things happen or whatever. These people exist. They exist. We wouldn't have the world being the way that it is if it wasn't, Like I heard somebody's talking about him making those comments or whatever, and I just was like, dude, like it happens. Like it just, me as a black man, I walk around expecting it all day long because it comes all the time. I'm not shocked at that.
Well,
I think I would have been more shocked if he was like, man, I love black people and I'll do whatever for them. I'll be like, wow, like that'd shock me more than this.
I actually know him.
Really?
I interviewed him it was right before the Trump election.
Was he trying to be funny?
Not exactly. So, I mean, when I know him, I interviewed him and we kept in touch. Mm-hmm. We would text each other back and forth every so often. At one point, I wanted to write a book and he hooked me up with his publisher. So I really thought I had a good relationship with him. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that, and someone I know was really upset over this, she actually cried when she heard about it because she'd been such a huge fan and she has kids. And it was like, is this how white people look at us? Right. Like, do they really not want to live in neighborhoods with us and move into an area where we're not around? Mm-hmm. So I hit him up and I'm like, yo, like this is what you said was really hurtful to a lot of black people. He's like, no, that's not, it was taken out of context. And I'm like, look at this statement. Like I purposely picked a place. And he was like, you're being fucking racist to me right now. And I said, I'm done. All right, that's fine.
See,
that's why I actually put a statement out. I said, I spoke to Scott Adams because at first people weren't sure if it was a real video. They thought it was maybe a deep fake. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was like, is this a deep fake or is he really saying this?
Yeah.
So I said, and I tweeted this. I posted on Instagram. I said, I spoke to Scott Adams. He confirmed the video of him isn't a deep fake. I tried to explain how hurtful his statements were to black people. And he responded that I was being racist as fuck because he's white. You won't see any more interviews with Scott on Vlad TV.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm not interviewing him.
Yeah. Like, see, you can't hold that in, man. You are what you are. And everybody feel how they want to feel or whatever. But my thing is, where does that get you? Where does that get you in life? It's so crazy to me, and I think about this often. I think about this. I go, we are all blessed to be on this planet at the same time, at this era. This is a very special moment for everyone in the world right now. Just like the people that were here in the years prior to whatever, that they were special enough to be on this planet. And I just don't understand why everybody can't realize that and go, hey, man, we are all a special breed that are here that can work together to inspire each other. And I know it sounds all cliche and corny and shit, but I honestly think like that. Like, you do not have to be here. We do not have to be here. But since we are here, what do we do together to make a lasting impact for when we aren't here? But let's work together on shit. But you hating me, what does that do? Yeah. I just don't understand what that does when you hate motherfuckers.
The annoying part about this is that his initial rant was based on this poll that came out.
Yeah, I know. And he tried to go, it's the poll.
It's the poll. But the question of the poll, and it's such a loaded question, and I was so annoyed about this, was the poll asked a bunch of people, including black people, is it okay to be white?
Yeah.
Which is a racist phrase. It's an alt-right phrase. It's the equivalent of white lives matter.
Right.
Where from the surface, it looks like an innocent statement. Mm-hmm. who doesn't think it's okay to be white? Of course it's okay to be white. Who doesn't believe that white lives matter? Of course, all lives matter.
Right,
human life matters.
Right.
But when you phrase it like that, you
Yeah.
know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So when you say a phrase like, is it okay to be white? And black people in particular are sensitive. Oh, they're like, oh, that's that white lives matter type shit.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not okay with that phrase.
Right.
And suddenly you say, oh, see, all these black people say it's not okay to be white.
Right.
Therefore, it's okay for me to be racist against black people and call them a hate group.
Right. It's a setup for failure almost.
Yeah.
It's a setup like I'm gonna set you up and put you on the corner with this answer. You know what I mean? Where your answer, you're not gonna be right no matter how you answer this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
one of those kind of questions
Yep.
that get you jammed up or whatever, you know. But I don't even understand why that I don't even understand why people even ask it shit like that or whatever. Like, why would you? And was that this is what I want to ask? Was that question towards black people? Were they asking black people?
No,
or were they asking white people?
They were asking white and black people, but he was particularly focusing on how black people answered it by justifying his whole thing. And look what happened. And I remember, like, I was probably the first person that texted him and say, "Yo, this is fucked up." And his response was like, "Yo, don't ever contact me again, and you're acting racist towards me." But look what happened a couple of days later. He got dropped by over 100 newspapers, including the Washington Post, LA Times. I believe his whole distribution deal was shut down. You spent 30 years building something up to lose it in 5 minutes.
Man, I tell my staff, my team, I tell everybody that. I be like, it's a handful of ways to get it. It is a million ways to lose it. You have to be focused. You have to watch what you do. Even if you feel, that's why, man, people, when they talk and when they say shit in interviews and shit like that, people don't think, man. They think they talk out of emotion. Like me, I don't even text in real time. I mean, like post.
Yeah.
The majority of time that I post, I don't post in real time because I don't want no emotion behind it. You know what I mean? I just don't. So even when people like be in interviews and shit like that and saying shit like that, you gotta, especially if you're responsible for jobs. People work for this man. People was doing stuff for this dude or whatever. Now, if he felt like that from the get-go, then that's just how he felt or whatever. Nobody will know until they know. You know what I mean? But if you kept your mouth closed and you hired people, if you kept your mouth closed, nobody would have known what you was thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And you would have kept on with your legacy that you built up or whatever. But you can't hide a snake, man. You just can't hide that shit. Like hateful people like that.
Right.
That's just gonna come out of you, like regardless, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's 65 years old. And I remember in our interview, we talked about how even back then he had what he would call fuck you money. You know what I'm saying? Where he said he achieved that and then he's 4 times that. And fuck you money means that you don't technically have a boss. You could carry out your lifestyle, you know, for the rest of your life based on the amount of savings you have and so forth.
So 10 years ago, you reached what you described as fuck you money.
Yes.
What did that mean to you? What is fuck you money, according to Scott Adams?
Well, this concept comes from the regular workplace, you know, I think finance people came up with it first. And the idea is that once you have enough money that you don't need a boss, nobody can tell you what to do. You know, the public can't stop buying your product and hurt you because you have enough money already. Your boss can't fire you because you don't need him. So you're not really free until you can say fuck you to all your customers and your boss.
Okay.
Right? Now, I don't say that to my customers because I'm just appreciative every day that they care about anything I do. But I can. I can. And if anybody follows me on Twitter, they know I do on a regular basis, about 25 times a day. There's somebody who just deserves to be given that treatment.
But you didn't necessarily have a boss for a long time, though. I mean, you worked with this company, but you're creating your own product and the product is rolling along.
Yeah, I use boss loosely to mean anybody who can control your fate. But whether it's your specific boss or just people who control you.
Right.
I guess he just took that shit to heart and just told everyone, fuck you, here's how I really am.
I guess he totaling up the amount of time he lived and what he's done, compared to how long he's gonna live with how much money he got, and I guess he decided, hey, let me be honest and put this out there, or whatever he thought was honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought it was fucked up. I thought it was like real fucked up for him to say that. And I'd be like, man, if you ain't got nothing to say, man, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully some black people move next door to his house.
I just want this. This is what I want, though. Look, move next door to his house.
Both sides and across the street. And the crazy, I've been to his house. I did the interview at his house.
Wow.
He has an indoor tennis court in his house.
I'm quite sure. He's been doing that shit for years, that Dilbert shit.
Yeah.
So I guess there's one luxury that I allowed myself. When I built this house, I decided to put one room in it that's a little bit surprising. And this is my indoor tennis court. It's a full tennis court, regulation size, just happens to be in my house. I saw that Charles Schultz had an indoor tennis court years ago, and I thought to myself, I gotta get one of those.
But this is what I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what black leader he gonna talk to, and who he gonna give money to, and who he gonna sit down and spend a week with on some black shit like everybody do. Like when black people mess up, you gotta talk to a whole bunch of different people. You gotta give money. You gotta do all this.
Yep.
I want to see my people go, hey, you got to be accountable for the shit that you said.
Yeah.
And I want to see who he answered to. I would love to see, is he going to get to the NAACP? Is he going to sit down with Derek Johnson and have a conversation about, is he going to take a class on black culture, on what to say and what not to say? I want to see what are the repercussions for saying what he said about black people. And I want all black people to be accountable for when people do stuff, say stuff to us, because when people do stuff to us, they be like, oh, well, they'll say, I'm sorry, and then they go on with their lives.
Well, I mean, he lost 100 newspapers. That's not an oh, well. That is a big financial loss.
But I know,
including the major newspapers.
For him. But what are you doing for black people for what you said to black people? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think Kyrie gave money. Like he gave money. He had to talk to different
Well, they told him he had to, but I don't
stuff.
think it actually happened. I remember they laid out all these rules for him to do, and everyone thought it was ridiculous. So I don't think he actually did it.
But it's always like that. Even with Nick Cannon had to talk to people. It's just like different organizations. Even if you say something about like Indian people or any other people, you got to go talk to the people.
Well, but that's only. But
not with black people. I don't even know who you talk to.
Okay,
I
see where you're coming from.
Who do we talk to?
I think if we spent a week with Dr. Umar Johnson,
yeah, we got to spend some time with Al Sharpton. So Al Sharpton get you right. You got to spend a week with Al Sharpton so he can cut your ass.
Or Dr. Umar Johnson.
Dr. Umar Johnson, so they can cut your ass down.
That's right. He can finally donate to school.
School
that Umar has always been promising for all these years.
Vlad. Now you get it.
Scott Adams will actually buy the school. He's been raising money for the past 10 years.
You need to get some money, and you need to talk to some real ones so this don't happen again. That's what I want to see happen.